Hey guys, it's Frank. Welcome back to my channel. So you want to know what's the cost of living in Calgary versus Toronto, and guess what guys, as an apparent lost and confused millennial that doesn't know what he's doing and apparently keeps moving to places, I might have the answer for you guys. Okay, look, but seriously, having lived in both cities over the last couple of years has really shown to me how individuals choose to live their lives, whether that is having an end goal of owning a home, having more job opportunities, having a wider range of food selection, or simply just having more space for their kids to raise at home. One thing that I think we can all agree on is, at the end of the day, I think it's safe to say that the cost of living is a large contributing factor in your decision making. With the news headlines of Canada's inflation rates seeing records high of 5% over the last 30 years, and the prices of apples increasing by 6.7% and oranges by 6.6%, it really begs the question of when are things actually going to get back to normal, and should I start planting apple trees to save money in my groceries? As more and more individuals begin to pour money into cryptocurrency or even buying funny ape images on the internet to hedge against inflation, is the answer to simply just move to a cheaper Canadian city? I'm not sure, but I'll let you decide on that. In this week's video, I'm going to be comparing the cost of living between Calgary versus Toronto. I will share information that I have gathered along with my own personal experience as a person that has lived in both cities quite recently. Before we dive into the video, give this video a good old smash. And now, let's begin. Let's start things off with the most important expense when comparing the two cities of Calgary and Toronto, and that is housing. Now, whether you're deciding to buy or rent a home, let's compare the two cities. The Calgary Real Estate Board did a breakdown for Calgary end of year in 2021, and they have listed the median sales price for a single detached home at $515,000, a townhouse for $300,000, and apartment units for $230,000. And on the flip side of this, we have no other than Toronto. For a single detached home, we have $1.4 million. For a semi-detached, it's $1.1 million. For a condo townhouse, it's $800K, and a condo apartment, it's $638,000. Another way of looking at it is from my own lens, and that is a condo in Toronto can afford you a detached home in Calgary. You know what guys, at this rate, Bitcoin better hit the moon in the next year, otherwise I'm going to be forced to relocate once again. Looking at housing from a rental standpoint for January of 2022, the report has Toronto a one bedroom at $2,000, a two bedroom at $2,700, and the city itself ranking overall at number 2 on the national list. While scrolling down to Calgary, we have one bedroom for $1,200 and two bedrooms at $1,500, ranking 26 on the national average. And if you're curious to know what the national average for a detached home across Canada is, it's scary, but it's at an all-time high at $720,000. And it has me thinking that maybe down the years, it might be time to pack my bags and go back to Winnipeg or Calgary. There are two forms of transportation that we'll be discussing when comparing between the two cities, which are public transportation, taking a bus, and the regular driving. What would the cost of that look like between the two cities of Calgary and Toronto? If you're looking to take public transportation in Calgary, an adult monthly pass would cost you $112, while a one-way route would cost you $3.60 that will be valid for 90 minutes. The transportation system features a combination of the standard bus that you see in most cities, along with a light rail transit called the C-Train. With the second lowest commute time of all major cities in Canada, Calgary has an average commute time of 26 minutes. And if you're intending to drive, for auto insurance, your premium on average will look to be about $110 a month. Now, the interesting part about Alberta is that based on what I've seen so far, they usually rank top 3 in the rates across the country, surprisingly. To compare to Toronto, a monthly TTC pass would cost you $156, and a single one-way route would cost you $3.25. That's also valid for 90 minutes. The advantage that I have to say about Toronto's transportation system over Calgary is that it's quite versatile in the sense of you have the standard bus, but at the same time you have underground subways, streetcars, and you even have this thing called the GO train that can get you from downtown Toronto to all the way to Hamilton. That's about 60 kilometers. And I get it, if public transportation is your thing, the average cost for auto insurance is $170 a month, or otherwise approximately $2,000 a year out in Toronto. The third item that we have to take a look at is food in restaurants and how do they compare between the two cities. According to calgaryhomes.ca, the average household in Alberta spends a minimum of $168 a week on groceries. The cost of grocery in Calgary is very similar to that of Edmonton. However, the average cost across all of Canada is lower at $200 per person per month. In which I really thought that $200 per person would be a lot higher, because I recall saying that I spend about $75 a week, which equates being $300 a month. And I thought that was on the low side. So it'll be really interesting to see what this new rate will look like now, just given that inflation has kicked in and kicked our butts. The interesting part is when looking at the grocery numbers for Toronto, because according to the City of Toronto's food calculator, people between the ages of 19 and 30 spend on average $302. But then later on, I did, however, end up finding out that the average groceries in Calgary did end up being very similar to Toronto for someone between that age group of in their 20s/30s. But I think the difference probably boils down to restaurant prices between the two cities, and I think if I had to give the advantage, I would give it to Toronto for slightly lower restaurant prices for like items. Moving over to internet and phone, generally I couldn't find any price differences between Calgary and Toronto that would be a significance when budgeting your monthly expenses. I have found on the CRTC Communication and Monitoring Report for 2019 revealed that Canadians per person spend $101 for their cell phones, and for their internet spend $54.17, in which case we have a total of $155.17 per person. Oh, and by the way, for anyone that's watching and is wondering why our internet and phone prices are so outrageously expensive, it's because Canada, I read, has the second highest, most expensive internet and phone prices across the globe. And those companies that I mentioned, they dominate the market industry, representing 75% of all revenues. Last but not least, we have my favorite expense of them all, and that is the gym, rather a gym membership. Now, similar to what I said about internet and phone prices in Canada, gym membership prices are very similar in the sense that many facilities operate on a franchise, meaning they're scattered across Canada. Like, really think about it. Is my YMCA gonna cost me that much more in Calgary versus living in Toronto? Probably not. But how about this? According to one source that I found in answering the good old question in Calgary, you can expect monthly gym memberships to be anywhere between $55 and $150 per month. Although from what I can tell, the $100 plus memberships are probably more specialized for things like boxing, yoga, personalized training. I'm currently living in Toronto and I pay roughly $45 for my gym membership. And as I said in my past video, you can suspect gym membership to be anywhere between $40 to $60. For this video, I'm going to be using $50 as the average when calculating final numbers between Calgary and Toronto. And finally, we are at the part of the video that y'all came to see, which is the breakdown of the cost of living between Calgary and Toronto. And you skip to this part, fine, you can listen. This list will include things like entertainment costs, hanging out with friends, going out to eat. This will include basic standard monthly expenses. This breakdown will also be on the narrative that you are renting and taking public transportation while living alone. So going into the numbers, for housing for a one-bedroom rental, out in Calgary we have $1,221, and in Toronto we have $2,013. Using public transportation out in Calgary for a monthly pass we have $112, while in Toronto it's $156. For groceries, for people between the ages of 19 and 30, for both cities of Calgary and Toronto, we are going to round it off to $300. For internet and phone for both cities, we're going to put it at $155.17 for both cities. And for gym membership for both cities, again, $50 for both cities. When looking at the grand totals for both cities, in Calgary, we have $1,838.17, while in Toronto, we have $2,674.17. And basically, the conclusion here is $836 more to live in Toronto versus Calgary. One thing that I want to remind you guys is just because on paper one city is a lot less expensive doesn't necessarily mean that everyone should go to that city. There's a lot more reasons outside of monthly expenses that are determinants as to why you may choose one city over another. Because if you really think about it, theoretically, wouldn't we all just flock over to, I don't know, Antarctica? But anyhow, with that said guys, if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching and following my millennial journey. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you'll be notified when I make my next video. And I guess I'll see you guys all in my next video. Peace.